G'day legends, it's Mark here from North Oz, and in today's video we're going to be having a look at the very early leaks of the new Toyota FJ Cruiser. So stick around, today's going to be a good one. So the reason for making today's video, guys, is pretty simple. I absolutely love my 2013 FJ Cruiser, and obviously Toyota don't make this vehicle anymore, so I was pretty excited to hear that Toyota are making a revival of this vehicle. So I've got some inside information from a variety of different sources, but the main one I'm going to be talking about today is from this guy who has got an inside scoop magazine sort of thing. It's a bit of a Japanese magazine, and they've released some details and some specs which will shed a little bit of light as to what Toyota was thinking with their new FJ Cruiser that will be arriving some point in the future. I mean, I'm going to say it's probably late 2025, probably more likely mid to late 2026, but it is going to be an interesting jumping off point for us to have some discussions about this new FJ Cruiser. So let's get stuck into it. Let's see what the inside scoop is. So those people who have been following the development of the FJ Cruiser kind of know it's been stalling a lot. Like there's been, I think the last main article from Australia was probably from like Car Advice or something, and that was like at the very beginning of 2024. So Toyota have been dragging their feet a lot in development, and I think it's because, and this is what a lot of people are talking about, is it's because of the manufacturing plants that they have, and the Hino plant, for example, which I believe that this FJ Cruiser came out of, apparently can't get equipped, or it's unable at this point to be able to produce the new FJ Cruiser. So Toyota having some issues with actually creating the vehicle, which was one of the rumors that I read, which is they just can't get the manufacturing for it sorted, and they actually do have a design in mind. There are some kind of like solid, and you know, guys, like let's face it, the new FJ Cruiser is going to have some sort of off-roading capability. So they've mentioned in this article anyway, which is that inside kind of scoop, the Scoop magazine from Japan, that there is going to be the ladder frame like this FJ Cruiser, and also like your Prados and like any serious four-wheel drive. So it is still going to be, thankfully, it is still going to be some sort of serious four-wheel drive that can actually get off-road and do some of the hard stuff. Interestingly enough, one of the briefs for this new FJ is that it is actually for people who find the Prado 250 that we get over here in Australia, and also the 300 series. It's for people who find those vehicles to be too big for their needs and to actually kind of get a smaller vehicle. So they're kind of marketing it to people who don't need, or are kind of a bit put off by the fact that the new vehicles coming out are a little bit too big for some people, but are bigger vehicles. So they just kind of want to, I guess they're marketing it for those people who don't really want a large vehicle. They did mention some of the specifications, which I'll put up on the screen, of the body size, the width as well, and also the wheelbase. They also reckon that it's going to be produced in Thailand, which is pretty interesting. I know that they make a lot of vehicles now in Thailand. I'd say that a lot of manufacturing is going to go over there anyway, if it hasn't already. So that was something that was quite interesting, because these vehicles, and my Land Cruiser 79 as well, you know, these ones are made in Japan. So I'm sure it won't make any difference, but those people who love to, you know, have a look at all the little nitty-gritty details, it will matter to them. So I do have, like I said, I do have some more information for you guys. One of the main things was that it is not a Landhopper, and they've been showing renderings of both of those vehicles, but that's not true. The Landhopper, from what I can tell, is going to be based off the Hilux Champ, which we don't get here in Australia, but Toyota, please bring it in, because I would love to do a Toyota Champ build here on the channel. And but yeah, the new FJ Cruiser is not the Landhopper. So the Landhopper is going to be based off a different platform, but yeah, the new FJ Cruiser, I'm not sure if it's going to be based on an entirely new chassis, or if they're going to use maybe the old Prado 150 chassis. I think that would be a mistake. I don't think they would do that. But yeah, I mean, Toyota are moving towards these universal chassis. So if they're saying that it's for people who don't want a Prado 250 because they're too big, then they won't be basing the new FJ Cruiser off the Prado 250 chassis. That would be a mistake, and it would actually go against and contradict everything that we have heard so far. So to clarify that, the FJ Cruiser, although the renderings seem to all just be the same these days, they all seem to be blended into one, the new FJ Cruiser is not going to be a Landhopper. It's something completely different, in case you've heard that being circulated. Another thing is it looks likely it's going to have some sort of a petrol-powered engine. This one is very, very thirsty. This one does about 12 to 13 litres per 100 kilometres, depending on what tyres and lift and accessories you have. But stock standard, these things will be doing around 12.5 litres per 100 kilometres, depending on what sort of driving you're doing. But so I'd say that they're going to go for a lot more reserved fuel economy in terms of what they use for the drivetrain. I would say they're going to be using some sort of hybrid setup, because obviously everything these days that's a petrol is pretty much going to be a hybrid. But you know, a 2.7 litre petrol seems likely at this point. It's what's been reported. So we'll see how that kind of unfolds as time goes on. I would say it'd be more likely they would use maybe the American 2.4 litre diesel that they have over there, or the petrol they have over there. I would say they would use a smaller displacement engine, because they wouldn't want it to be too similar to the Prado 250. So something that I like about this vehicle in particular is that they really kept the heritage of it, and they actually made it, you know, with a big V6, or a big 6-cylinder at least, which kind of again gives it that retro sort of a charm. So I hope that they don't go, you know, with this new FJ Cruiser, I hope they don't go too far on the soft side of things, because I tell you what, guys, the four-wheel drive community here in Australia is screaming for a rugged, reasonably priced, you know, off-roading vehicle that is not going to, one, break the bank as well, but two, that isn't absolutely riddled with emissions tech. So I hope that if it is a petrol, they kind of leave all the, you know, all the emissions rubbish off the vehicle. That's just, you know, me speaking on behalf of a lot of the people in the comment section, but feel free to have your say as always, guys. It looks like I said, that there are some issues with the factories trying to get the new FJ Cruiser off the ground. One of the things I was a little bit concerned about is that, you know, they are kind of marketing it as a 4-door vehicle. So, you know, when you start, and this is another point that I want to make as well, is that when they start adding, like, you know, 4 doors, it's hopefully not just going to have generic styling. This, although is not everyone's cup of tea, I absolutely love the way it looks. And I think that it would be a mistake if Toyota just make it just like a general sort of blob shape, you know, or if they just, you know, focus too much on aerodynamics. This thing makes no sense. It's an absolute brick. So I kind of hope that they just kind of run with the style of it to really kind of push that retro of what the FJ really is. At least they've done well with this vehicle to, you know, harken back to the original FJ Cruisers that were the FJ 40s and up from there, really. You know, at least they've done the, you know, the original FJ styling cues, even with the white roof and that. So I hope at this point I can't see any styling cues from the old FJ, even from this one. So I don't really know where Toyota are going to go with how heritage they're going to be, and if they're just going to be making it. And this is again a big problem. This is kind of like one of my last points, is that I hope that they don't make the new FJ Cruiser kind of like what Mitsubishi and a lot of the other companies have done with kind of retiring their sports cars and retiring their, you know, their heritage vehicles, and then turning them into something that is not even close to what the originals were. So as an example, like Mitsubishi had the Eclipse, which was, you know, a really underrated sports car in my opinion, and they ended up retiring that name and turned it into a crossover. Mitsubishi did something similar as well when they, you know, they kind of were moving towards making the Evolution something like a crossover, which I don't think they ended up doing in the end. Even Ford with the Mustang as well, they created some sort of a crossover, which again, the enthusiast community, the four-wheel drive community, and also the sports car community absolutely hated. So that is something that, you know, I hope that Toyota don't do. I hope that they don't go into the whole, let's just retire the name and do whatever we want, or kind of, I guess, retire the old vehicle and then make, you know, whatever vehicle that they want with the new name on it. So that for me is just a little bit of a concern. You know, Mitsubishi aren't, you know, any better as well. They've done the same sort of thing with some of their other vehicles as well, like I mentioned, but like, you know, they'll slap an MR badge on just about anything. Like I was at the gym today and I saw a Mitsubishi ASX and it had an MR badge on it. And I was like, you know, that used to be reserved for, you know, their Evolutions and their really, really high performance vehicles. But, you know, so it's just something that, like, that's all my opinion, you know, take it or leave it. And we're in a bit of a rant mode at the moment. But, you know, for me, like, I just hope that Toyota don't don't take away the FJ from the enthusiast. Like that, and if they are going to just do whatever they want, like they're going to have 4 doors, like at least Toyota made an effort to keep 4 doors on this vehicle, but it looks like a 2-door anyway, you know? So I hope that Toyota just kind of keep the essence of what it is, and I hope, you know, that Toyota just kind of go down like the 2-door Jimny sort of a route, and they just kind of make it a small, really compact, something that will compete with the 2-door Jimny in that kind of $30,000 to $40,000 price bracket as well. I think would be awesome, especially if it's got like a punchier engine than the Jimny as well. I think it'll do really, really well, and it's actually something that I would consider getting and decking out myself for the channel. But probably the main concern that I have at this point as a Toyota enthusiast, how many Toyotas we have here, and someone who owns an FJ Cruiser, who might actually buy a new FJ Cruiser as well if the opportunity becomes available, and also if it's not too expensive, and if they keep the original, I guess the original essence of what makes these vehicles special. So although this, like I said, this isn't everyone's cup of tea, this FJ Cruiser, I know that, I knew that when I bought it. I bought this one because I think it was going to be interesting on the channel, and I also think that for myself, it was a bucket list car that I really wanted to own and just see kind of how it goes, you know, see what all the fuss is about. And I do have a lot more content coming on this FJ Cruiser as well, which is going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to adding some more accessories over this on this vehicle over the next couple of years, and also doing some hard wheeling, which I haven't done with this vehicle just yet, and taking it to some pretty cool places as well. So, you know, in summary, I really hope in terms of like the news, there hasn't been a huge amount of news, but from what I've seen, I'm not very happy at the moment, and I think that there's a lot of people out there that are a bit concerned about how this kind of FJ development is kind of coming along. So, to my point, if I was speaking to the Toyota engineers and the, you know, whoever makes the vehicles and has, you know, kind of the responsibility for designing them, please listen. I hope that the vehicle is a 2-door or is similar to this, where it's kind of got that little, you know, extra door there, little hidden door. If it's like that, that would be awesome. You know, keep it cheap, please. This vehicle brand new was about $47,000. So let's hopefully they can keep it, you know, to around that. Hopefully a little bit cheaper, just so that it kind of is in that competition with Jimny. And I hope that they don't just kind of, you know, go back on all the heritage that they've had over the last whatever it's been, 60, 70 years. So I hope that Toyota, please, if you are listening, do not ruin the new FJ Cruiser for us. Please, please keep what makes the FJ Cruiser special. This is a little bit of a stretch, this FJ Cruiser. At least they did build it on an existing platform, which I'm sure helped with the cost as well, but they do have things like the white roof, they've got the circle taillights, you know, they kind of kept the petrol engine where most of the vehicles that are being produced in the Prado were diesel, so they've at least made an effort. They've got a lot of silver on it as well, so I just really hope that with the new FJ Cruiser that they don't just throw all this out and just make a 4-door that's just going to be like a generic sort of a vehicle that no one will buy. So there's going to be a spoiler alert there, because if they make it a 4-door that just looks like every other vehicle, then, you know, and that costs similar to like a Fortuner or something like that, even if it starts creeping up in the $50,000 range, I'm just going to say, guys, just go out and buy yourself a Fortuner and call it a day. So that is all the information we have at this point. These are my early thoughts on the FJ Cruiser. And please, Toyota, don't stuff it up. Alrighty, guys. If you liked what you heard today, make sure that you like the video, first of all, and subscribe to the channel for some more episodes. I am building this out, like I said. I've got heaps of builds going on, too many to count. And yeah, and we have new videos every single week. So if you like what you see here, make sure you subscribe and let me know down in the comment section what you think of this new FJ Cruiser. And would you guys be okay with having just like its own vehicle being created and not harkening back to the original styling and how the original FJs were made? I'd be interested to see if you're on the same page as me, or if you have an alternate theory or an alternate idea. I would love to hear it. Alrighty, guys, I'll see you down in the comment section. See you there.